So hi, welcome Hitesh. Welcome to a new episode of Brands, Brews and Banter. मतलब ये थोड़ा सा I think alliteration बन गया तो मेरे को ही pronounce करने में दिक्कत हो जाती है. So welcome. Thanks for doing this. And I know you're joining for a different time zone. But thank you so much. I just want to dive right into it, Hitesh. And I think the folks already know that you work for some of the best consumer brands in the country. You've built them literally from scratch. And your journey is what a lot of people aspire to have, and so that's one bit of it. But the second bit of it is that you're widely known as one of the most outspoken voices in Indian marketing scene, right? Whether it's LinkedIn, so a lot of folks subscribe to you or share your content is because you don't take any prisoners, and you just say what you mean. So I think we would want to see a little bit of that in the podcast today. uh, One of your posts, which I want to just start with, is you put out a scenario in which a CEO is saying कि boss 50 लाख का धंधा करना है और whatever that number is, इतना deficit आ रहा है हमें number में. So there are two perspectives. There is a 15-year FMCG CMO, and then there is a traditional digital marketing CMO, and both of them have very different responses. तो क्या है वो
Hmm.
responses?
So again, that's not intended to attack at caliber of any of those special breed CMOs, but
ये
I,
disclaimer
I
छोड़
can
दो
I
हितेश.
can just talk from my I can just talk from my experience. I still feel that the traditional marketers who say that they somewhat know digital is they kind of understand the hearsays of digital, right? So what they read about it,
Hmm.
what they hear from other people, or what they do their own Google search on, and it's not technically people who got their hands dirty, right? Versus the digital marketers who are defined, who probably started as ad ops people or maybe very basic, strategy people and moved up the chains, understanding each of the platforms. There is no way to understand digital unless you've gone there and set up your ad and optimized the ad over a long period of time. Uh, in
Absolutely.
the last 14, 15 years that I've handled, say, things like Google marketing or Facebook, I have seen at least 10 to 12 changes that have happened in the platform, in the optimization, and even in the way the algorithm works, right?
Hmm.
Unless somebody gets into it, you don't understand jack shit of digital, right? Then you
Hmm.
will just keep talking about generic stuff, which comes out on some of the popular articles, and then you just keep quoting it, right? But that's
ज्ञान
that's
बहुत
not the
ले
way to
लोगे,
go about
बट
it. हाँ,
आप
वो
ज्ञान
नहीं
बहुत
होगा
ले
तो
लोगे
क्या
बट
होगा.
एक्चुअल नहीं
हाँ,
करोगे कुछ.
एंड वो हेल्प नहीं करता लोगों को, राइट? सो
हम्म.
आने वाले टाइम में ना, मुझे लगता है कि आई रिप्रेजेंट द नेक्स्ट सेट ऑफ जेन जी मार्केटर्स who will have a bit of both, right? Understanding
हम्म.
of brand adjacencies and the aesthetics around it
या.
and the measurements around it. At the same time, they will get their hands dirty. Understanding
हम्म.
digital because यार अब तो evolution इतना तेज हो रहा है तो उनको करना ही पड़ेगा.
हम्म.
Not getting deep into it is not an option, right? अभी
हम्म.
प्रॉम्प्ट सीखेंगे, बाद में प्रॉम्प्ट्स एडवांस हो जाएंगे, और उसके बाद they will combine some of the real footages with AI fake footages, so it would be a
या.
combo. So I think I kind of represented what the next stage of marketers would be. So
हम्म.
coming back to the post, I think again in my experience, seems the brand wala will not take it to a place where it's purely an outcome of measurement that can change the dynamics, right? So
हम्म.
my post clearly said that the performance guy will focus on very, very close consumer metrics, which are
हम्म.
measurable, right, from a page view to product view to cart dropouts, cart additions, or even a payment dropouts, every single stage of the funnel.
हम्म.
While in my experience, I've seen that people who don't understand digital that deeply prepare solutions which don't get the CA out of the mess. And that's the reason you do see marketing as the highest cost center in
हम्म.
most of the startups, right? Now,
एग्री.
it's okay when the startup is in Series A or it is in fresh stage, right?
हम्म.
But if marketing is the highest cost center, we're kind of reaching Series D or getting closer to getting listed,
हम्म.
it is a problem, right? I understand India is a
एग्री.
very competitive market, but India does offer strong brand loyalties as long as the marketing is hyper personalized and
हम्म.
customers are very well catered to.
हम्म.
I think वो problem अभी भी है because
हम्म.
डिफरेंस होता है ना कि फुली डिजिटल और समवॉट डिजिटल और मे बी डिजिटल, ये तीन
हम्म.
पिलर्स आज एग्जिस्ट करते हैं.
एग्री.
जो मे बी डिजिटल जो है ना, वो ट्रेडिशनल कंपनीज में लार्जेस्ट पोजीशन पे बैठे होंगे.
हम्म.
समवॉट डिजिटल जो है, दे आर नाउ सिटिंग ऑन द कंपनीज वेयर they've got good funding, and by the nature of good funding they wanted to get pedigree people, and
हम्म.
pedigree people for them were people who have done large FMCG roles over 10, 15 years, and who can maybe come and do some magic in their startups which has seen exponential growth.
ट्रू.
And that kind of eliminates the pure born and digital CMO marketer
हम्म.
who's may not have those kind of pedigrees, on his resume, but but understands consumers insights like really well, understands the bias for action really well. And I
Hmm.
think वो disadvantage मुझे लगा था कि 2020 16 17 के बाद खत्म हो जाएगा, बट आज भी है, इट स्टिल एग्जिस्ट. तो
Absolutely.
आज कोई लार्ज कंपनी, ग्लोबल कंपनी, जैसे लेट्स से टेस्ला इंडिया आता है, राइट? तो
Hmm.
टेस्ला, even run by one of the sharpest minds, Elon Musk, will be forced to run in a very traditional HR method in India, जहाँ पे वो कहेंगे बॉस मेरे को ISB IM graduate दे दो, which is okay, but
Hmm.
somebody who done PNG HUL for like 12 years, or maybe Maruti or Mahindra for like 10 15 years, or Tata Motors for 12 years, right?
Hmm.
So होगा क्या कि the people who've been sitting on these automobile companies in India for the last 12 15 years, they have worked through agencies, right?
Yeah.
खुद कभी उन्होंने ना सेटअप किया होगा, तो खुद की
Hmm.
लार्ज एजेंसीज होती है, क्योंकि वो AORs होती है, तुम्हें तो पता है, एजेंसी ऑन रिकॉर्ड एक बार लग गया तो 10 साल
Hmm.
छोड़ेगा नहीं. वो
True.
उसके थ्रू कर रहे हैं, राइट? एंड एजेंसी तो कुछ भी घुमा सकती है, राइट? इट्स if the agency guys understand that the
Hmm.
person sitting on the client side is not native digital, तो वो कहीं
Hmm.
भी घुमा सकते हैं. They can do whatever they
Hmm.
want. उनको पता है 3 महीने में एक प्रेजेंटेशन बना के देनी है, उसको चुप कर दे, और प्रेजेंटेशन ले लेगा और वो दिखा देगा अपने बोर्ड में, और उसका अप्रेजल ठीक हो जाएगा.
Hmm.
तो तो टेस्ला भी वही करेगा, राइट? टेस्ला कहेगा मुझे ढूंढ के दो जिसने टाटा मोटर्स में मार्केटिंग करी है, या इन कंपनीज में करी है 12 साल 15 साल.
Hmm.
Versus कि give me a whiz kid who's a voice of people on LinkedIn when it comes to AI or digital marketing.
Hmm.
Right? So
True.
वो thought process नहीं होगा. तो even so this continues,
Hmm.
right? And I would say it's a combination of a lot of foreign companies or new age companies not taking any risk in terms of talent acquisition and going with the traditional talent acquisition methods the way
Hmm.
India has been seeing for the last 30 years.
Hmm.
So
मतलब
ये चलता रहेगा.
the mental model is more to avoid a bad hire than to kind of avoid missing मतलब the type 1 type 2 error fallacy मतलब that again okay, because if you have somebody from a traditional uh, जिसको हम मार्केटिंग में कहते हैं ना प्योर ब्राह्मण के IIT IIM और FMCG बिल्कुल ही kind of 12-15 years of FMCG, so those guys will probably be a low risk hire. And of course we see a
There,
lot of
the FMCG hires, with due respect to them, right?
hmm,
There's certain challenges that come with, a fully native digital organization. It will be even, a type 2 fitment for them as well to, come and immediately do transitions. They
hmm,
can set up structures, right? They can set up processes because they're used to it, right?
hmm,
And that's what maybe large companies look at कि यार ये SOP सेटअप कर देगा, ये SOP मेरे 50 साल चलेंगे आगे, right?
hmm,
And I relate to that because I have done both kind of roles. I've worked in large organization where everything is by the book, and
hmm,
I'm supposed to draft processes right from कि post कौन डालेगा, कौन approve करेगा, to
hmm,
आज के 3 layers of approval chain क्या है, typically the RACI method, right?
hmm, hmm.
But 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 moving on, you also have to kind of catch up with the speed, right? So
Yeah.
there is a tendency to kind of get slower with some of the shackles. You
Hmm,
have to operate at a certain pace. Now you would see that some of the companies that are like doing well, in India, they've kind of kept a combination of both, right? So they will have
hmm,
people who set up processes, and then they will have new age marketers who will just in the speed or the velocity that they want to achieve. So I think थोड़ा combination रखना पड़ेगा, but सीधा if you give everything to that one person,
hmm,
it would be a problem. Ideally, do a split responsibility. एक को रखो who's like fully digital, is like a knight, and taking he or she's taking the back and forward.
hmm,
It could be one traditional person who could be like ensuring that the things are in control, or there is a control mechanism set up for anything which is wrong.
hmm.
It has to be hybrid, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
It can't be one over the other. And then those talent acquisition or the OD structures have to decide that
Hmm,
how do we make it a hybrid without one, interjecting into other person's role. So overlap भी
hmm.
नहीं चाहिए, because there could be ego clashes. I understand that. दो VP marketing साथ में रखोगे जो they will obviously get into some kind of conflict. You need to avoid that. So define the
मस्त
roles like really
रखेंगे.
well. Obviously, वो तो होगा.
Hmm. So I'm just reflecting on what you're saying. So maybe we have wartime marketers and we have peacetime marketers, right? And maybe we have 0 to 1 marketers and maybe we have 1 to 10 marketers or
Yeah,
howsoever.
yeah.
जैसे भी jargonize उसको करना है, and probably both of them have very different roles to play, and you just can't say
Hmm.
कि one size fits all. So maybe a wartime marketer, somebody who sets up things from scratch, gets his or her hands dirty, is the solution for everything. Maybe brand stage की evolution में what it needs at that point in in time is the kind of marketer that they
Why
should
wouldn't
hire.
you? Why wouldn't you, as an organization,
Hmm.
train and empower the 0 to 1 or 0 to 10 marketer to go to 10 to 100? What is your responsibility
Also true, yeah.
as a talent acquisition, or as the mentor,
Hmm.
or the founder or the CEO? Right? Chalo, let's assume कि तुम young founder हो, तो I will take that responsibility away from you because you're still starting young, right? So you're
Hmm.
learning things. But a lot of companies have CEOs who have like very strong 30 35 years experience in different companies leading large organizations. What
Hmm.
is their job, right? So do you are you saying that let me get this one guy who's going to give me the momentum I need, and then I will sacrifice him like a goat, right?
Hmm.
That is also utter nonsense. Why wouldn't you develop that person? See, I have developed like
Agree.
that, right? I started very, very strongly as a 1 to 10 guy,
Hmm.
and then I evolved to 10 to 100. But I did on my own, and it was very painful, right? It takes a lot of personal sacrifice. It takes a lot of unlearning, which I had to do, and it was painful. Everybody cannot do it on their own. They will need mentors or guides within the industry or within the company to take them ahead, right? Otherwise,
Hmm.
it's like, okay, I'm starting सीरीज बी तक मैं अरिंदर को रख लेता हूँ, ये मेरे को खींच लेगा, उसके बाद मैं इसको निकालता हूँ और मैं किसी पीएनजी वाले को उठा के ले आता हूँ एचयूएल को. That is such a wrong way of developing personnel, right? And I again strongly think कि कहीं ना कहीं personal ethics आना चाहिए. जो तुम्हें शुरू के वॉर से आगे लेके गया है, तो इन अ पीस टाइम तुम क्या उस जनरल को मार दोगे, राइट? ऐसा तो नहीं ना होता यार.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल। नहीं,
वॉर
एग्री।
टाइम तो वापस भी आएगा ना. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि
हुँ,
इट गेट ओवर, राइट? सो योर फर्स्ट वॉर वाज टू पुट योर फुट इन द मार्केट, बट
हुँ,
यू विल हैव कंपटीशन एंड यू विल हैव मेनी वॉर्स टू फाइट लेटर ऑन.
हुँ,
तो उसके स्किल्स तो तुम्हें चाहिए होंगे ना, ये थोड़ी ना तुम उसको सैक्रिफाइस कर दो. एंड
ठीक
टू
है।
बी ऑनेस्ट, जो तुम केस बोल रहे हो, ये मैं देख रहा हूँ कि कई सारे मार्केटर्स जाते हैं 1 to 10 करते हैं, एंड देन कहीं ना कहीं उनको रिडंडेंट किया जाता है सो दैट दी अदर गाइस कम इन. बट आई
हुँ,
जस्ट फील दैट दैट्स नॉट फेयर एट ऑल.
बिल्कुल, दैट्स अ
या
वेरी ब्लंट एंड
या
ऑनेस्ट
या
पर्सपेक्टिव, और ये हो रहा है, राइट? मतलब folks are being
हर जगह हो रहा
churned, marketers are being churned because of the role they get to play in the portfolio and the role they get to play in the brand's journey. But I just want to change gears, right? I just
है.
taking on the same conversation. I think maybe 10 years, 5 years earlier, for a kid getting out of B school, the traditional path was FMCG, right? And now a lot of those things have kind of reinvented themselves, and now there is enough proof of concept out there to say that you can take a non-traditional digital-only path to get to the top level in marketing. So somebody listening to this who's probably in business school, not in business school, or probably wants to build a marketing career 2 3 years into the marketing career, like how should her marketing mental model for building a career ladder change?
So let me just bring in these two very good examples you brought in. The business school and that first FMCG job is nothing but a channel to get you the rigor. Okay, so business school, a good business school will really put very difficult timelines and get you to work in groups. So two dynamics, that is working with different people and yet catching up with the pace, is something you learn well. And FMCG will typically take you into a sales job. They might call you that your role will evolve into marketing, but you will start typically a sales in some tier three locations in India where it's very difficult to manage and understand the market. So that exercise is done so that you understand the consumer from root level, right? And again, a push to your rigor, that how much are you traveling in a day to meet those distributors or the retailers in remote locations, and understanding how the consumer consumes your product. If you can replicate that rigor on your own through a million tools available today, you are getting ready for it, right? For example, what will the company ideally want apart from you being good on, understanding digital as a medium? It's consumer insights, right? When you come to market, what is your personal effort that you have done since you've skipped the B school and the FMCG parade to reach to consumer insights? Right. So let's put an example. Let's say a lady born in the year 2001. I'm kind of moving ahead from Gen Z and kind of moving more into Alpha generation as well. Would be probably now a 22, right? A ripe age to get deeper into consumer insight for marketing. Now, assuming she's decided not to go to a business school or the FMCG route, and she wants AI and digital to be her baseline, and basis that she wants to make a career. By all means, she will have a lot of knowledge available right now to delve deeper into how machine learning is created or what are transformers in AI. At the same time, how digital is evolving, how cookie-less world is coming into action, And the digital, as we understand, is going to change completely. And that's one part of it which he will do. What is a rigor to understand that what how to sell, a t-shirt to Harinder or Hitesh, right? What are our life choices? What are our life stages? And where do we stay? What kind of family systems we are into? What is our traditional thinking? What is our modern thinking? What is the rigor into that is really important.
Hmm.
Now, some people are gifted, right? So
Hmm.
they get it intuitively. So you would see a lot of filmmakers, they really sometimes don't do that kind of research. By the virtue of societies they come from, they're able to mirror those societies very well and showcase in entertainment.
Hmm.
Maybe this lady could be a part of the society, which is a target customer, and she absorbed all the nuances of the society very well as she was growing up, and she can like project it in her skills. That is one part of it. But the challenge comes: how do you market to a society where you're not born into? Right? For example, lady
Absolutely.
born into
Yeah.
ultra luxury environment, how would she market to rural? And
Hmm.
alternatively, a lady born into rural, semi-rural, or urban three environment, how would you market to the HNIs, assuming that tomorrow there's a requirement in BMW?
Hmm.
There's a requirement, for example, some large jewelry brand which is now getting into modernization and digitization. How
Hmm.
do you cater to that, right? This is the challenge. So what
Hmm.
MBA school and FMCG did was they got you the rigor to get close to customers. You need to replicate that in personal life somehow to target the industry you need to go into. Because
True.
you eventually will never be able to typecast yourself into one industry. There will be different situations in your life where you might start as a rural marketer and you might end up selling like high grade jewelry to like H&S. That rigor, if you can bring in on your own, I
True.
think then there's no stopping.
I think the tools available to folks starting out their careers today versus what happened 10 years, 15 years ago, matlab, there's a landscape change. And I get very bullish on whenever I meet new folks in interviews, folks who are just, say, 25-year-old and they're looking to build marketing careers. I think and I'm generalizing here, I think they've already broken the mold in their head. कि बॉस ये
Hmm.
नहीं चाहिए मतलब this is not how I'm going to do. They think growth first. A lot of folks think performance first.
Hmm.
They will not wax eloquent about uh, equity scores and purpose and other things and things that you read on Adweek, right? So I think that's a welcome change, and I'm very enthusiastic about the new crop of marketers that are coming out there. But the only issue is that the new crop, the force that they bring in, they are met with an equal and opposite force, which is some of the older marketers, the old guard, the old generation, which is currently sitting there,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
might still, which may dilute their enthusiasm and might change how they think about marketing, how they think about consumers. So as a young person, how should you kind of make sure that while you keep learning new things and you're on a ramp up of kind of building yourself as a marketer, but you don't adopt a lot of the old school traditional
Hmm.
practices which are not optimized for 2023 and beyond.
See, the same, I think, dilemma was there in our lives as well, right? I call it the C hash dilemma, right? So everybody know what C stands for in our colloquial and abusive term, right? So you will always have this C hashes in your life around you who will,
True.
uh, you know, kind of urge you to take a step backward and
Hmm.
maybe not let you carry your pace. And Arinder, you and I have kind of experienced that together as well in our lives.
Let us
So,
not talk about
yeah,
it.
but I think the point here is that these are challenges like that they cannot be stopped, right? We didn't enter industry thinking that overnight baby boomers will die or we will starve them to death, right? So we dealt with a good bunch of boomers
Hmm.
or the generation which was just before millennials. They call themselves millennial, but mentally they were boomers.
Hmm.
We dealt with them, right? So same
Hmm.
might happen with them as well. The only bright light is that they are going to deal more with millennials and boomers. So
Hmm.
there will be people like you and me who will be the twilight of their lives because we'll be kind of a bridge between them and maybe some big boomer we're reporting to make them understand better. So we
Hmm.
will be like their elder cousins somewhere sitting in that pyramid or in that structure where we can like always guide them. But I think these kind of problems they'll face. Every generation subsequently becomes smarter and lazier. Remember that,
Hmm.
right? We are smarter and lazier than our previous generation, and the reason we are lazier is because we are smarter. So we'll find easier means to achieve similar goals. And I
Hmm.
think that will kind of continue that as generation progresses, they will be lazier. So
Hmm.
whatever we are today doing, to achieve a certain goal, they will find a smarter way to turn around it and make it better and cheaper and faster. So
Absolutely.
that's given. But I think the benefit they have is that their interface with boomer is unlikely. Their interface would be channelized mostly through millennials. Yes, there will be certain millennials with very boomer mentality. I agree to that, but it's still a better world out there for as compared to what we faced. We
Hmm.
faced hardcore straight away boomer setup when we
Hmm.
started, and hence the evolution of startup happened, and hence I kind of chose that path for me because it was my ability to work with younger and smarter people.
Hmm.
But I think that's one advantage that they will have to themselves, and they will probably be luckier with that.
Hmm. तो बूम बूम बूमर से दूर रहा जाए मतलब और मतलब एटलीस्ट से यस बट मेंटली ट्राई एंड बी
सी डिपेंड करता है अगेन,
टेफ्लॉन
ये
कोटेड.
बूमर्स हो ना, दे वर ग्रेट फॉर इंडस्ट्रियल एज और इनकी जरूरत थी।
हम्म.
इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन जब हुआ था ग्लोबली ना, तो उस टाइम हम जैसे मिलेनियल्स नहीं पुल कर पाते, क्योंकि वो
हम्म.
जो टाइम था ना, दैट वाज अ टाइम ऑफ पेशेंस, दैट वाज अ टाइम ऑफ हार्ड वर्क व्हिच वाज लिंक्ड टू डूइंग द सेम थिंग अगेन एंड अगेन एंड
हम्म.
नॉट गेटिंग बोर्ड ऑफ इट।
या.
अब समझ रहे हो ना, एक एक जो एक एक फैक्ट्री होती है राइट, उसके अंदर एक जब एक मशीनरी चलती है, एक प्लांट चलता है राइट, तो उसके एक पैरेलल ट्रेस चलेंगे, हम नहीं बेयर कर पाएंगे, उन्होंने किया है। So एक
हम्म.
something as simple as a candy, which will go through like 7 step process in a plant, is
हम्म.
something that only they could have managed and given the world the economies of scale that we have today, right?
हम्म.
They were
क्रेडिट
important for that
क्रेडिट
era.
वेयर इट इज ड्यू
Huh.
सो मतलब.
It was important for that. Can we sit for 10 hours in that candy factory, ensuring that every single step in that plant is in place, and ensuring that the operational excellence is to its highest level and
हम्म.
like Six Sigma level as it call it? Maybe not.
हम्म.
Maybe that is something they have, and
एग्री.
that's what we see with our parents as well, right?
या.
The persistence and the ability to do something again and again with equal attention and equal dexterity.
हम्म.
I think I'll give it to them.
Absolutely. Doing boring
Yeah,
things over and over again, but the
yeah,
right things. मतलब the boring
yeah,
things are
right.
often the right
The
things.
world needed it. The world
Hmm.
needed it. The
The
world
world
needed
needed it.
the
Yeah.
industrialization age. The world needed economies of scale. The world needed things to be produced at large to be
Hmm.
available for everybody at cheap price. Otherwise, everything would have
Absolutely
been
agree.
expensive.
Absolutely agree. So from talking about slightly more mature and tenured folks, I want to talk about absolutely younger folks, right? And I want to specifically talk about Indian founders. Say a typical founder who's in his 20s
Hmm.
has a certain thinking and expectation about marketing, and probably once they have funding in, they have all the money in the world to hire top class, world class marketers. So somebody coming into that kind of a position in which the person is probably started out as a coder, went on to become a builder, now flirting at becoming a CEO, but is still learning the ropes about how the world works, right? But you coming in with a substantial amount of marketing experience and having seen the world and how brands are built, how do you bridge that gap without making sure that no dreams are shattered on either side?
There'll be two breeds of young founders.
Hmm.
One breed would be the typical coder who would, work behind the curtains and
Hmm.
not be at the forefront and is not used to limelight, maybe doesn't like limelight. There would be the other guy who's traditionally not a coder, but more like a product thinker who can put things together and put teams together and get stuff done, right? But
Hmm.
again, could belong to a great institution, very prestigious institution of engineering, but was never the guy behind the curtain. So the first one will come to you and let you take the center stage and say, boss, I don't understand marketing.
Hmm.
I understand numbers.
Hmm.
I've been a coder and do your best, but I have a trust issue because because everything depends on me. The
Hmm.
world will fall apart if I'm not acting. So what is your reporting mechanism with me or a daily update mechanism with me to keep
Hmm.
me happy
Hmm.
or to keep away my trust issues, allay my fears, right?
Understood.
The other guy who's not a coder but still comes from a similar prestigious institution like an IIT,
Hmm.
who's been used to limelight, will mostly act as the CMO himself or herself. She
Hmm.
will think that he or she will think that his experiences during his engineering days or college days, where
Hmm.
he was maybe a very popular personality and is the one who fetched the funds, who impressed the VCs,
Hmm.
is the CMO, and you are probably the assistant.
Hmm.
So he will try to push his ideas first, thinking that those ideas are best, and will expect you to implement those ideas, and not make too much room for your ideas to come into picture. Now again, he will get both kind of candidates. He'll get people who will say, "Fine, as long as I'm getting paid in 6 or 7 figures, I'm
Hmm.
fine to run along." And there would be some kind of people that look, I've come as specialist, I don't want to hear a bullshit. Right? I
Hmm.
don't think so you understand anything, and it's not going to work out.
I know you
Those
are the
companies and
latter.
yeah, I am, and you would see high attrition in those companies, right? So you
Hmm.
would any company any startup where marketing heads attrition is happening under the period of 1.5 2 years,
Hmm.
assume that the founder is just self-belief CMO and there
Toxic
is no
kind of
space
stuff.
for a marketing head.
Hmm.
अब टॉक्सिक बोलो जो मर्जी बोलो वर्ड बहुत सारे हैं
Hmm.
बट इसी टॉक्सिसिटी में उसको लोग मिल जाएंगे जो
Hmm.
बोलेंगे हाँ ठीक है सर आप बता दो मेरी तो तनख्वाह आ रही है मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है मेरे पापा ले जाए
Hmm.
सो देर इज एम्प्लॉय टाइप फॉर एवरी काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन तो जिसको हम टॉक्सिक बोलते हैं ना टॉक्सिक एनवायरनमेंट के लिए भी लोग बैठे हुए हैं जो
सही
पांच
बात।
साल वो काम कर सकते हैं और उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता
Hmm.
अर्लियर इट यूज टू ट्रबल मी नाउ इट डज नॉट ट्रबल मी व्हेन आई रियलाइज कि यार उसको अपनी ईएमआई देनी है उसको अपने बच्चे की
Absolutely.
फीस देनी है दैट्स द प्रायोरिटी फॉर हिम
Which
he's
is
not he's
fair.
not saying I
Absolutely
want to
fair.
be the numero uno in digital marketing.
Hmm.
He's saying I want to be the best father here. I want to
Hmm.
be the best husband. And by I just want to provide to my family, give the best school to my child, make enough money so that she can go to US or UK into top universities, and I want to make provision for that. So for
Hmm.
that, if I have to personally sacrifice my whims and fancies and
Hmm.
listen to somebody who does not understand the trade equally like I do, I'm fine with it. So
Hmm.
when I was younger ना मैं बहुत impulsive होता था और मैं बहुत गुस्सा हो जाता था कि क्या बकवास है.
Hmm.
Now, since I've touched 40, and I'm a father as well, so are
Hmm.
you, and we have little babies who are like very close to a similar age group.
Hmm.
I can relate to that feeling a little
Yeah.
bit that okay, you might need to sacrifice certain things to
Hmm.
get greater good. So मिल जाता है यार लोग तो वो
Absolutely.
टॉक्सिक एनवायरनमेंट हमारे लिए उसके लिए वो एक स्टैंडर्ड एनवायरनमेंट है जहाँ पे उसके ईएमआई निकल रही है घर की कार की और बच्चे की फीस
Hmm. Yeah, That's
राइट तो
that's
ठीक है
that's an amazing perspective, Hitesh. And I think it's very easy to come out and say कि
हाँ
maverick बनो and everything, but a lot of times maybe
नहीं
folks
बनना है
who
यार
are maverick,
हाँ
मतलब
हाँ
जो बंदे हैं maverick, उनको भी maybe
हाँ
at some point they have to change gears and feel यार ये time this phase of my life I need to be
yeah
different and I need to be probably the EMI CMO मतलब and I need to be the yes man as much as I don't want it to be and the ability to change those gears कि आपको
yeah
अपनी reality पता हो और आप मतलब you are restraining yourself in some ways. I think that's a very important and very
कहीं
clever.
ना कहीं डिफिकल्ट टाइम देखा होगा ना देख तो यार
Hmm.
इमेजिन वो एक सीएमओ है एक लार्ज कॉर्पोरेट में उसने एक
Hmm.
लाइफस्टाइल बना लिया राइट उसने एक
Hmm.
जर्मन कार खरीद ली जिसकी एक हैवी ईएमआई जा रही है
Hmm.
उसने एक अच्छे एरिया में 2 या 3 बेडरूम अपार्टमेंट ले लिया है
Hmm.
एंड इंडिया में अभी भी लाइक होम लोन रेट्स आर थ्रू द रूफ तो ऑब्वियसली इज पेइंग हेक्टिक फॉर दैट
Hmm.
बीच में हो सकता है एक ऐसा पीरियड आया हो जहाँ पे ही लॉस्ट हिज जॉब एंड
Hmm.
ईच ऑफ दीज पेमेंट्स बिकेम लाइक वेरी डिफिकल्ट एंड ही probably had to take some kind of loan and debt
Hmm.
right and maybe same for the child's education as well so
Hmm.
वो trauma उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा है that
Hmm.
trauma is bigger than going to work and
Absolutely.
being told what to do every day
Absolutely.
he's fine with it that
Hmm.
trauma he doesn't want to get into and
बिल्कुल.
and these are the complexities of life which we react at when we are young 30s or early 20s but as we go closer to that life stage we understand what a person could have gone through see
Yeah.
जो empathy word है ना ये बहुत साल लगते हैं build होने में
Hmm.
सिंपैथी और एंगर बिल्ड हो जाता है पैदा होती एम्पैथी टेक्स
Empathy.
अ लॉट ऑफ इयर्स या
I think and I was also reflecting on this that once you become a dad, then I think a lot of things change in you as a professional, and I think what you're saying really makes sense. But as a marketing professional, how do you think being a girl dad, that's something like you said we have in common? How do you think that has changed the way you approach things? Like how you has that truly developed empathy in you? Have you started thinking about things a little differently? How has that experience changed you as a marketing professional?
I certainly think that I have become way more patient with people
Hmm.
than what I used to be earlier. Uh, I used to have a rule book where I did not keep place for mediocrity,
Hmm.
right? Be it in terms of function, be it in terms of people. Today, I feel that mediocrity has its own importance
Hmm.
towards the book of within the book of excellence as well. Because if you try looking for everybody like you, you'll
Hmm.
probably end up in a mirror maze and
True.
there's no way to get out of it, right? So
Yeah.
if I put 20 people who are exactly like me, we'd all be stuck in that one room and kind of banging against each other, right?
Hmm.
So I feel that there's certain people with what we term as different skill set or mediocre skill set, they kind of pave the path for you, which is important.
Hmm.
I would say the part to humanity or the part to sometimes just be stable and do things which need to be done and not like worry about results all the time,
Hmm.
right? Recently I've come across this quote that that not every problem needs to have a solution, and I think that was like really really brilliant quote. And you should also watch this movie. It just came on Netflix, which is Air, which is based on Jordan,
That's what.
Nike,
Very
partnership, which is brilliant, right?
true.
So, I feel like not every problem will have a
Mm,
solution, and I think it does change. It makes you more empathetic, and it makes you happier individual because you have now learned to work with people of all caliber,
mm,
which does not happen earlier because you're training a child, right? So every day your child is evolving and learning new things. So you see how human mind evolves in front of you, which you've not seen.
mm,
You don't see yourself grow up, right? You're seeing another human grow up, and you're kind of seeing how the mind evolution happens. And then you realize that certain things your child picks up, certain things your child does not pick up. And that
mm,
story continues for next 2 decades. And
mm,
then everybody in your team has gone through that story at once in their lives. They
mm,
picked up certain things in their lives, and there's certain things they did not pick up. Does that make me push them out of my rule book? No. But in the past, the kind of demeanor I had, I used to do that.
mm.
I had less patience. I was less empathetic, and I think parenting changes a lot uh, internally. All these things.
So, folks, welcome to the Marketers Parenting Podcast. I think let's, but yeah, I think a lot of these things, and I feel absolutely bang on, right? I feel the same kind of changes within me. You start taking a long term view of many
Yeah,
things, and you start understanding. Well, it's a little rich to say, but you start understanding people better, and especially colleagues, right? Everybody has their own story, and you're not running anywhere.
yeah.
You're just probably sitting back and thinking about things. And patience, of course, here, matlab, considering.
Even the guy who's trying to pin you down now, so you will have nemesis at work here. Matlab
Mhm.
from see, as a marketer, you will always have nemesis from sales. You will have always have nemesis from operations
Finance.
team, finance, right? And now stop thinking that they're nemesis. I
Mm,
just think that there is a certain job they are pegged to do, and they're
mm,
doing that.
yeah.
If that job requires to put me down or showcase it to there is money that is being wasted or there is money that is not ineffective, I
Mm,
don't take it personally. Earlier, I used to take it personally and maybe go head on in a very very strong conflict. But now I don't take it personally. I just smile about it and I say,
mm,
"Look, I understand what you're doing," and it works like magic because since the other person is not getting my reaction, वो
mm.
अपने आप ही calm down हो जाता है.
क्या बात है.
So the same guy who will come with 20 guns blazing at you.
Mm,
तुम देख रहे हो यार कि वो देख रहे स्माइल कर रहा है मतलब
mm.
he's not getting wired out, right? तो वो भी चल हो जाता है एक टाइम बाद.
तो ठीक है. I think the one takeaway from this part of the conversation for young marketers out there, become parents as soon as possible. That will make you a better marketer.
नहीं नहीं वो मत करना यार. हम लोग खुद बहुत लेट पेरेंट्स बने. हमने बहुत लेट आराम से शादी करी है. तो आई
Right.
थिंक इट्स अ वेरी पर्सनल डिसीजन व्हेन द पर्सन वांट्स टू डू इट.
Mm.
आई एम नॉट हियर टू प्रोपोगेट पेरेंटिंग और मैरिज. इट्स वेरी पर्सनल चॉइस. आई
Mm.
जस्ट थिंक दैट they have to go through that journey which we've gone
Yeah.
through, the
Yeah.
journey of anger and pain and impulse, and it will take some years before they kind of become little peaceful in their heads. So
Mm.
all I'm telling is, or all I'm kind of putting a point forward is that uh, just take that journey and be happy about it, right? Because you
Mm.
have to go through the journey. You will
True.
have conflicts, you will have that pain, but it's okay. It will settle down in some years.
True. Thanks, Hitesh. I think this has been a very meaningful part of the conversation. Just coming back to the marketing bit, because I think that's what folks want to hear more from you on, right? I think you've been a big proponent of how the landscape is changing due to AI, and I'm sure AI has now become like this irritating thing that keeps propping up in every conversation. How do you think AI is going to change the world and all that bullshit?
नहीं नहीं स्टार्ट करो,
Uh,
यूज करना स्टार्ट करो. ये सब बकवास
uh,
सुनना बंद कर दो. इधर बैठ
so
के फिर वही जाके पॉडकास्ट सुनोगे. वही पॉडकास्ट जो लोग पहले क्रिप्टो के बारे में बात करते हैं, अब एआई के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं.
uh,
ना उन्होंने क्रिप्टो में किसी को कुछ करने दिया, ना एआई में कुछ करने देंगे. मेरे तो दोनों में किया है. आई गॉट माय
uh,
हैंड्स डर्टी इन बोथ, राइट?
uh,
सो
मे बी
सीधी बात है.
2025 के जो मार्केटिंग कॉन्क्लेव्स होंगे उसमें एआई इज डेड होगा. तो अभी ये
हाँ
पता
वही
नहीं, वेब
होगा.
वेब थ्री डेड हो गया, तो एटलीस्ट
अभी भी
अभी
ऐसे
एआई
ही होता
हॉट
है
है,
ना.
तो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट.
अभी भी 2 साल पहले तक तो ऐसे मार्केटिंग कॉन्क्लेव होते थे जहाँ पे वो लोग बोलते थे कि डिजिटल इज गेम चेंजर, राइट? तो मतलब 2021 में भी ऐसा हुआ हुआ है, 2021 में भी हो चुका है. तो ये सब सुनने में अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि तुम्हें लगता है कि तुम कुछ नॉलेज गेन कर रहे हो. बकवास है. सो यू
हम्म.
स्टार्ट डूइंग थिंग्स योरसेल्फ. तो जैसे तुम जॉब नहीं कर रहे ना, तो
हम्म.
मिड जर्नी चैट जीपीटी अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में यूज कर लो, राइट?
हम्म.
तो अपने तुम्हारे खुद के सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स है.
हम्म.
खुद का इंस्टाग्राम है, खुद के लिंक्डइन है. कुछ अच्छा वीडियो बनाओ ना मिड जर्नी से, कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट डाल के,
हम्म.
राइट? सम लाइक समथिंग दैट यू वांट टू एक्सप्लेन.
हम्म.
Put your thoughts into prompts and then just create something on mid journey. And
हम्म.
that's how I started. I got my hands dirty and start posting about it. The other thing is maybe you're doing some kind of internship where you're required to create say social media plan.
हम्म.
Chat GPT से बनवाओ ना. अपने
हम्म.
सारे inputs डालो उस plan के बारे में. What industry it is about, what is the expectation, what is the tonality of the words, to
Hmm.
which customer you're targeting, and let ChatGPT make your say 15 days के post or
Hmm.
stories plan, right? And it does
बिल्कुल,
that. So
बिल्कुल।
वो start करो, ये सब सुनना
हुँ,
बंद करो इधर-उधर। सेम
हुँ,
डिजिटल के लिए मैं ही बोलता रहा, लोग इतना बोलते थे मेरे को व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू गो फॉर दिस कॉन्क्लेव, ये कोट किया है, बेन ने ये कोट किया है, और इसने बॉस्टन ने ये कोट किया। मैं कहा मुझे नहीं सुनना, राइट? आई एम टेलिंग यू कि डिजिटल एड जब आप सेट कर रहे हो,
हुँ,
तो टुडे ऑडियंस इतनी वाइड हो चुकी है कि अगर आपको, इफ यू वांट टू रीच आउट टू समबडी इंटरेस्टेड इन से परचेजिंग क्रिप्टो, तो उसकी कोई टारगेटिंग ही नहीं है। सो यू आर डूइंग
हुँ,
लाइक एलिबाई टारगेटिंग, तुम रियल एस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट वगैरह जा रहे हो, देन हाउ
हुँ,
डू यू गेट बेटर एट दैट, राइट?
हुँ,
So even you know, real estate industry will target real estate, or
हुँ,
investing banks will target investors. How do you create your niche for crypto within that when there is no official targeting available for crypto? These are
हुँ,
the conversations which are more important that needs to be done, and they can only happen when two guys who have first-hand experience of setting up the ad on any platform will talk about it.
हुँ,
Right? Even simple things like in territories where TikTok is available as an ad platform, which is an amazing ad platform, I would say. India,
हुँ,
the only sad thing about TikTok going away from India is कि उसके ads हम use नहीं कर पा रहे. India
या
में all the नाजायज बच्चा of TikTok got left behind वो सब stupid ad platforms है. You
हुँ,
can't do ads on that, right? जो भी रहेगा उनके जाने के बाद.
नॉट येट एट लीस्ट मतलब उस पे सिर्फ
नहीं, कभी नहीं बन पाएंगे. टिकटॉक का एल्गोरिथम जो है ना, इन टर्म्स ऑफ
हुँ,
रीडिंग व्हाट द कंटेंट इज अबाउट, इज
हुँ,
सुपीरियर, इज वेरी
ओके,
गुड, राइट? सो उनको ना कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझ में आ जाता है कि बैकड्रॉप क्या है, कैरेक्टर्स क्या कर रहे हैं, लैंग्वेज कौन सी है, और क्या
हुँ,
प्रमोट कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, और
हुँ,
उसको वो लोग दे थ्रो इट टू द राइट पीपल फॉर योर पोटेंशियल कस्टमर्स. So, in terms of algorithm, I would say they're doing a far superior job than, say, Facebook or Google. But what I still feel is great within Facebook, Google is, I would say, the app-based marketing, options that are available, which I still feel is far superior, because TikTok beyond install is difficult to do, say, re-engagements.
या
So, you have to do all these things, right? You have to get into those free platform layer. तुम्हें
हुँ,
यूज करने का थोड़ी ना पैसा लग रहा है, तुम्हें क्या करना है,
हुँ,
क्रेडिट कार्ड अपना अटैच कर दो, तुम्हें एड चलाने को किसने बोला?
बिल्कुल,
क्रेडिट कार्ड अटैच कर दो, और एक हाइपोथेटिकल $5 या $10 का एक छोटा सा एड बना लो अपने लिए.
हुँ,
वो एड लॉन्च मत करो, जस्ट पुट इट ऑन पॉज मोड, बट यू विल एक्चुअली सी व्हाट आर द ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल.
हुँ,
ये ड्रिल नहीं करोगे ना, तो डिजिटल एज भी मिस करोगे, फॉरगेट एआई
हुँ,
एज.
बिल्कुल,
ठीक है, अब योर आर्ग्यूमेंट कुड बी कि हमें ये सब नहीं करना बिकॉज एआई के टाइम में एआई तुम्हारे एड कैंपेन सेट करेगा, मे भी करेगा, बट उसको प्रॉम्प्ट से तुम ही दोगे ना. So if
बिल्कुल,
tomorrow, ChatGPT launches an AI extension that
हुँ,
links itself to, say, Facebook Ad Manager or Google AdWords, I have to give it prompt. No, that look, give me these countries targeting, because I know in my head that countries A, B, C, D never work for my product.
हुँ,
Now I can't tell GPT to just go wide. I still have to give the geo targeting in my past experience that has worked,
हुँ,
right? So that I ensure that it's not making wasteful ads. So
मेक्स सेंस।
वो ड्रिल तो करना ही है ना. तो यू कुड वेरी वेल से यार एबीसीडी सीखने की जरूरत क्यों है जब लैंग्वेज इज गोइंग टू बी मोर फोनेटिक बेस्ड. बट
हुँ,
फोनेटिक्स का स्टार्ट ही तुम्हारा वावल से होता है, राइट? ये कॉन्सोनेंट से
ट्रू,
होता है, वो तो सीखो.
ट्रू,
उसके
हुँ,
बाद फिर तुम आगे उन चीजों में जाओगे. तो आई थिंक दिस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. This is, I keep reiterating this part in every podcast or every interview I do, is, guys, it's cheap, it's free to get your hands dirty in digital.
हुँ,
It's free to get your hands dirty on AI. Please do it. What's stopping you?
हुँ,
Stop listening to this nonsense. YouTube में कौन क्या बोल रहा है, और
हुँ,
Instagram में किसने क्या पोस्ट डाल दी, एकदम इन्फ्लुएंसर आके बोलेगा 4 चीजें जो आप कर सकते हो, ये बोलो. तुम कर नहीं रहे ना, तुम सिर्फ सुन रहे हो, तुम थंब डाउन कर रहे हो, थंब अप कर रहे हो.
या,
थंबिंग से बाहर आ जाओ एंड जस्ट स्टार्ट डूइंग विथ योर पापा का क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लो, अपना क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लो, $5 का एड पॉज कर दो यार, सेटअप तो
हुँ,
देखो एटलीस्ट.
हुँ,
प्रॉम्प्ट्स डालने शुरू कर दो, खुद के पोस्ट बना दो, बोल दो कि मैंने ये पोस्ट डाला है, मेरे दिमाग में इमेजिनेशन था कि हाउ आई वुड बी स्पेंडिंग संडे विद, से फॉर एग्जांपल, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प. हम
हुँ,
लोग कहाँ पे बैठेंगे और क्या बात करेंगे, राइट? सो यू कैन क्रिएट दैट सिनेरियो ऑन मिड जर्नी, एंड यू
हुँ,
कैन पुट मार्स इन द बैकग्राउंड, 6 aliens serving your coffee, and
हुँ,
Donald Trump maybe just tripping and dancing, whatever. This scenario can be created mid journey and you can post it, right? अच्छा, तुम्हारे
एब्सोल्युटली।
लिए अच्छा एंगेजमेंट आ जाएगा. अच्छा.
हुँ, काफ़ी कूल। हाँ, एक्चुअली आई थिंक व्हाट यू सेड ऑफ के ज्ञान-व्यान सुनना बंद करो, रिपोर्ट पढ़ना बंद करो एंड जस्ट जस्ट बाय अ सब्सक्रिप्शन एंड जस्ट गेट योर हैंड्स डर्टी, राइट? लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ फोक्स आल्सो आस्क मी कि यार डिजिटल के लिए मतलब क्या सर्टिफिकेशन करें, राइट? व्हेनेवर यू टॉक एट कैंपसेस एंड स्टफ.
Yeah,
So my simple thing is, boss, don't number one, if you have to do a certification, do a free one or just go to YouTube and learn whatever you have to learn.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
better thing than that, never pay money for learning, right? At least we are in that point of time
yeah,
के marketing सीखने के लिए आपको पैसा देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. And at least once you go, you buy a mid-journey OpenAI subscription or whatever have you, right? The world is your oyster. Just get your or even something as basic as Facebook's products, you want to learn how the ads manager work. बाजू का चश्मे का दुकान अंकल के पास जाओ, बोलो मैं आपका I'll set everything, I'll set a page up for you, I'll set up geo targeted ads towards people around you, मतलब something as basic as that, and those things work so much better.
Yeah,
And uncle आपको free चश्मा देंगे, right? So you'll get your
yeah.
money back in much sooner time. So that's what I feel, and I'm glad you have the same opinion, right? But another thing I want to talk about, and I think this also comes from one of your posts, and वो बहुत ही अच्छा मसालेदार post था about you talking about cred, and this is one thing which I always say कि marketing वाले लोग जब मिलते हैं, at least today, they talk about three things: either they bitch about their agency, or they bitch about finance, or they talk about कि cred वाले genius हैं या stupid हैं. So tell me what the third question. What is your take?
मेरे हिसाब से ये सबका एक ही सूत्र है और वो है माल। एक एक ही वैरायटी का इन्होंने वो पकड़ा वीड और सबने साथ में फूका एक रूम में। एंड जब ऐसा होता है ना, जैसे तुम यंगर एज में, अब तो तुम बाप बन गए सब करोगे नहीं, बट लाइक 27-28 साल की उम्र में मनाली में जाके अपने छह छपड़ी टपड़ी गैंग को पकड़ के जब से माल फूकते हो ना, तो
Hmm.
सारे रूम एक ही डिस्कशन में चले आते कि यार अगर हम मून में जी रहे होते तो क्या हो रहा होता। एक बंदा बोला था कि यार मैं तो फुदक रहा होता, मैं कूद रहा होता, हवा में उड़ रहा होता, क्योंकि ग्रेविटी तो हवा में मतलब
Hmm.
तो बोल रहा होता यार मैं तो गड्ढे इतने बड़े बड़े कि मैं कुछ खोद के नीचे ट्रेजर ढूंढ रहा हूँ। So
Hmm.
everybody will start getting into that one make believe world,
Hmm.
and they'll keep adding on to the story, right? So
Hmm.
अब जो श्रोता होता है वो खुद किरदार बन जाता है, right? And then they keep
Hmm.
moving forward. I just feel that that is the camaraderie maybe between Cred and their agency, and that's how they move forward,
Hmm.
and that's how they do things. Now, when it comes to storytelling, something interesting, right? It is fine, right? Entertain करना है मुझे लोगों को, right? मुझे content बनाना है, तो वो
Hmm.
part तो ठीक हो गया ad का. Does it do anything for the product and brand? नहीं. एंड मे बी जब सब लोग साथ में मिलकर फूक रहे थे, उन्होंने ये एस्पेक्ट सोचा नहीं था कि यार हमें प्रोडक्ट या ब्रांड के बारे में कुछ करना है. उन्होंने ये सोचा कि चलो कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग बनाते कि लोग करेंगे वाह यार, मतलब तो शेयरेबल कंटेंट है.
Hmm.
So it is more like a skit बना लिया ऐड की जगह, ठीक है. तो and if the purpose was to make skit and burn like several million on it, it's all that purpose. But again, if अगर मैं decision maker हूँ ना, मैं my first job is marketer, right? So I will not burn money to entertain people unless I am a creative producer and marketer both,
Hmm.
right? Which is a very rare combination you
True.
don't find so much. So if Netflix employs me and say कि देश हमें एक ऐसा वो skit बना के दो to promote our upcoming web series,
Hmm.
and कि लोग देखें, then I understand, right? Where this both the worlds will kind of collide together, where a
Hmm.
marketer and the creator will get together and they'll create something dope. But इधर I think ये लोग सब साथ में बैठे हैं, and this is how it's created. It does not change brand equity. It does not change adoption. It takes the name forward because of the virality of the skit. But does taking name forward result in business? That's a big question mark,
Hmm.
right? So again, there are proponents of virality who will say कि बदनामी में भी नाम है, but I feel नहीं, ऐसी बात नहीं होती. वायरलिटी जब होती है ना, तो जो प्रोडक्ट की एफिकेसी है और जो प्रोडक्ट की contextual fit है तुम्हारी लाइफ में, that has to also be viral along with it.
Hmm.
बीन बैग का एक जो स्प्रे पेंट दीवारों पे लगता है ना, उसमें ना लोगों को ज्यादा कॉन्टेक्स्ट दिख गया, और वो सबसे सस्ती वायरलिटी है जो अपने आप केस स्टडीज बनी है. वो केस स्टडी किसके ऊपर है? नोबडी नोज.
Hmm.
किसने स्प्रे किया? नोबडी नोज, राइट? बट इट इज ऑलवेज मेंशन अबाउट. एंड उसमें हुआ क्या कि बीन बैग जो वर्ड है लोगों के दिमाग में आ गया, लाइक व्हेन दे सॉ द
Hmm.
स्प्रे पेंट्स एवरीवेयर.
Yeah.
Then people would have started looking up, asking people. Then they saw the product, and then
Hmm.
they linked that product, the comfort and the free flow of the product, to the free flow marketing activities that happened around the walls.
Hmm.
And it was in and it resulted in maybe uplift of sales for the product. And
Hmm.
that virality is good, right? Because लोग कह रहे हैं यार कितनी कैजुअल मार्केटिंग है, पर प्रोडक्ट भी तो कितना कैजुअल है, बस
Hmm.
में बैठ के टीवी देखना, लेटना बैठना, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. तो
Hmm.
वो लिंकेज बहुत स्ट्रांग थी. आई थिंक with this attempt that Credit has done, I think it's purely a burn, and unless they do something really unique about utilizing their HNI database or Sybil 760 database,
Hmm.
मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा. I mean, हम सबके पास करोड़ों पॉइंट्स है क्रेडिट में, क्या करेंगे? लाइक बिल, क्रेडिट कार्ड बिल, जितना तुम बिल दोगे उतना तुम्हारे पॉइंट्स बनते रहेंगे. बट
Hmm.
अगेन वो पॉइंट यूज करके जो उन्होंने स्टोर बनाया है, डू आई ऑलवेज वांट टू गिव चांस टू एन अपस्टार्ट ओवर देयर फॉर अ प्रोडक्ट दैट आई don't know about maybe one time? Will I be a repeat buyer? Will largely depend. on other people's review and my personal experience about that product later on.
Yeah.
तो मुझे लगता है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट जहाँ पे वो अपने पॉइंट डिप्लॉय भी करने देते हैं, नो मैटर
Hmm.
हाउ मेनी स्किल्ड इट इज, उसकी रिपीट परचेज बहुत कम होते होंगे.
I'm sure.
तो एज अ बिजनेस मॉडल भी वो सस्टेन हो नहीं रहा. इवन पुटिंग ऑल दीज वेल बिहेव पीपल टुगेदर,
Hmm.
जिनके जो मेंटेनिंग गुड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटस एंड फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ, आई डोंट नो कि वो यूज कैसे हो रहा है, राइट?
Hmm.
तो अगर अगर द आस्क इज कि हम नए प्रोडक्ट क्रिएटर्स मैन्युफैक्चरर से पैसा लेंगे टू पुट योर प्रोडक्ट राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ दीज टॉप मोस्ट पीपल ऑफ द सोसाइटी फाइनेंशियली, जो है, आई डोंट थिंक सो इट सॉल्व दैट पर्पस एज
Agree. Agree.
वेल, क्योंकि हम जाते ही नहीं स्टोर के अंदर, हार्डली कोई घुसता है अंदर.
एग्री ना मतलब आई डोंट मतलब दिस इज वन थिंग व्हिच आई वांट टू सी कि कैसे प्ले आउट करता है मतलब इस कहानी का अंत क्या है मतलब एंड व्हाट इज द लेसन दैट वी गेट आउट ऑफ इट और
यार
उसके
कुछ
लिए
कहानी
मतलब
का अंत नहीं होता. अब इतना इतने पैसे, इतना वीसीज हैंड जा चुके हैं इसके अंदर ना, कि कुछ कहानी का अंत नहीं होता. कुछ कहानियां चलती रहेगी फ्रॉम अ
हम्म,
छोटा वीसी टू बड़ा वीसी. ठीक है,
हम्म,
कई सारे बिजनेसेस होते हैं जिनको कोलैप्स नहीं करने दे सकते, नो
हम्म,
मैटर हाउ डिफ्लेटेड द बिजनेस मॉडल इज और द CM3 बॉटम लाइन इज, राइट?
टू
वो
बिग टू
इसलिए
फेल
क्योंकि टू बिग टू फेल, कि सी द मनी हैज टू बी इन्वेस्टेड, राइट? तो
या
एक बहुत, आई विल टेल यू वेरी वेरी peculiar scenario. See now, and it is because of my exposure to VC world as well.
हम्म,
You're VC1, right? You're typically Series A VC, which, with the capability of, say, raising 10 million, 20 million.
हम्म,
I am advanced VC, I am capability of 250 million. Then there are pension funds like Canadian pension funds. Then there are sovereign funds like सबको पैसा डालना है, क्योंकि
हम्म,
द वे हाउ फाइनेंस वर्क्स इज कि द इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न जो होते हैं ना, वो एक परसेप्शन पे बना जाता है.
हम्म,
तो जैसे एक रिटायरमेंट फंड है, एक सॉवरेन फंड है ना,
हम्म,
उसको दिखाना है कि मैं कुछ ऐसी चीज में अपना पैसा डाल रहा हूँ जिसका रेट ऑफ रिटर्न होपफुली या परसेप्चुअली 7% या 8% से ऊपर होगा.
हम्म,
क्योंकि नहीं डालूंगा, अगर मैं लोकली इन्वेस्ट करूंगा तो मेरे को 2 या 3% भी नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, सो दे हैव टू शो दैट कैलकुलेशन. तो VC1 जो सीरीज ए था, उसने ई वाले को पकड़ लिया, क्योंकि 10 मिलियन वाला कह रहा है कि यार मेरा तो डूब रहा है पैसा, मुझे 10 का तुम 20 दे दो, आई विल डू द एग्जिट. नाउ रिमेंबर,
हम्म,
उसको 10 का 20 मिल जाएगा, बट द कंपनी कुड स्टिल बी मैसिव लॉसेस. बट द
हम्म,
सीरीज ई VC वाज गिविंग हिम 20 मिलियन, उसके लिए 20 कुछ नहीं है.
हम्म,
उसकी खुद की जो टेबल है 100 मिलियन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की है. तो
हम्म,
उसने ले लिया, उसने कहा यार चल कोई बात नहीं, 20 मिलियन में दे दिया, 20 का कभी तो 50 होगा. ठीक है, अब उसने 20 में लेके, उसके लिए भी इट्स गोइंग अंडर लॉस, एंड देयर इज नो वे ही इज एबल टू सी एनी फ्यूचर इन इट. ही
हम्म,
विल फाइंड वन ऑफ दीज सॉवरेन फंड्स एंड वन ऑफ दीज पेंशन फंड्स, एंड बोलेगा यार देखो, हम हाई ग्रोथ इकोनॉमी है,
हम्म,
आज नहीं तो कल या 10 साल बाद या 20 साल बाद तुम्हारा रेट ऑफ रिटर्न 7-8% हो जाएगा या नौ
हम्म,
परसेंट हो जाएगा. वर्सेस कि तुम अपनी खुद की कंट्री में डालोगे जहां पे इन्फ्लेशन नहीं है, तुम्हें
हम्म,
2 या 3% रिटर्न नहीं मिल रहा, तुम डाल दो यहाँ पे एंड लॉन्ग टर्म खेलो. तुम
हम्म,
सोचो कि आज नहीं 20 साल बाद कुछ हो जाएगा. ठीक है, जो सॉवरेन फंड है और जो पेंशन फंड है, उनको भी नहीं फर्क पड़ता, क्योंकि उनके जो है, उनके लिए एक कैलकुलेशन है.
हम्म,
उनके लिए एक हाइपोथेटिकल कैलकुलेशन है कि हमने इंडिया में इस पैसा इस कंपनी में डाला है जो ट्रेडिशनली अच्छा नहीं कर रही, बट जब भी अच्छा करेगी, इट इज गोइंग टू गिव अस अ रिटर्न व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी क्रेजी. सो ये साइकिल चलता रहता है, राइट?
हम्म,
देयर इज नो एंड टू इट. सो सर्टेन कंपनीज ऑफ द स्केल दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, उनका साइकिल इतनी इजीली इम्प्लोड नहीं होगा.
हम्म,
इम्प्लोजन वहां होते हैं जहां पे आपका सीरीज ए वाला डी को कन्विंस नहीं कर पाता.
ट्रू
सीरीज ए वाले से जब डी वाले से बात करते हैं, तो डी वाला सेज कि यार तुम तो बिल्कुल ही गॉन केस हो, तुम तो
हम्म,
मेरे जीरो वैल्यूएशन पे हो, क्योंकि तुम्हारी कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस जीरो है, तुम्हारा फाउंडर बकवास है, तुम्हारी मार्केटिंग शिट है, तुम्हारे मोस्ट ऑफ द कस्टमर पागल हो चुके हैं, दे वांट टू लीव यू, तो प्लीज मेरे पास मत आओ. वो इम्प्लोर हो जाएंगे, राइट? दे विल गो
हम्म,
अंडर अ सिवियर इम्प्लोजन. एंड वो केसेस भी हमने देखे, राइट, वेयर वी सी दोस काइंड ऑफ ले ऑफ्स हैपनिंग. ये
हम्म,
जो मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, ये लोगों के लिए समझना बहुत जरूरी है, स्पेशली यंग मार्केटर्स. तुम कौन सी सीरीज वाली कंपनी में हो, राइट? ए बी सी में बैठे हो, तो क्या तुम्हारी कंपनी की एबिलिटी बन रही है डी वाले और ई वाले के पास पहुंचने की, राइट? एंड दी एबिलिटी जो डी और ई वाला है, वो सिंपल एक ही चीज देखेगा, नंबर ऑफ कंज्यूमर्स एक्वायर्ड, टॉप लाइन रेवेन्यू, एंड टू सम एक्सटेंट नाउ आफ्टर कोविड, कि तुम्हारा बॉटम लाइन डिसिप्लिन कैसा है. ठीक है,
हम्म,
टू एन एक्सटेंट, इवन इफ ए बॉटम लाइन है से -15-20%, वो एक्सेप्ट कर लेगा और वो खरीद लेगा, राइट? सो ही विल गिव द एक्सेस टू द प्रीवियस VCs. If you're sitting with a larger company which is at D, right? So now you have to see there are two outcomes for your ESOPs. One is कि या तो तुम्हें लिस्टिंग का कोई प्लान बन रहा है एंड तुम लिस्ट हो जाओगे एंड सबको एक एग्जिट मिल जाएगा, या कोई
हम्म,
बहुत बड़ा सेकेंडरी हो रहा है. नाउ सेकेंडरी के लिए भी क्या तुम्हारी कंपनी इंटाइसिंग है कि कोई सॉवरेन फंड आ जाए या पेंशन फंड आ जाए जो तुम्हें एग्जिट दे दे, क्योंकि सेकेंडरीज वही करेंगे लार्जली.
Hmm.
This is a very critical part for young marketers who are working with a big component of ESOPs in their salary. This is
Hmm.
how you do this calculation. Otherwise, this Indian government laws are draconian. They will take away 40% or 38% taxes on a perceived value, which is never going to be realized.
Hmm. It's very rich, I'm saying, coming from you, sitting where you are sitting in the Middle East and paying, I don't know how many, you have no taxes, right? And मतलब, and considering मैं अभी फॉर्म 16 निकाल के मेरे सीए को दे रहा हूँ, so and I am still kind of in that bracket
तभी तो लोग भाग रहे हैं, तभी तो लोग
and
भाग रहे, राइट, नो टैक्स हेवंस में, क्योंकि द पॉइंट इज नॉट सी, जैसे जैसे कनाडा, यूएस में, लंदन में ना आज भी बेस्ट, आई वुड से एटलीस्ट लंदन और यूएस में बेस्ट मार्केटिंग टैलेंट है.
hmm,
एंड वो लोग ना, हरिंदर, दे आर पेइंग हाई टैक्सेस, वो लोग सब 30 के ऊपर ही टैक्स दे रहे, राइट.
true.
बट दे आर देयर फॉर द बेनिफिट्स दैट द स्टेट गिव्स देम, राइट.
Hmm,
उनको पता है कि फाड़ी नहीं रहेगी, फटी हालत में भी ना दे विल स्टे अफ्लोट.
hmm,
मतलब बच्चे का एजुकेशन कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होगा, एट बेस्ट प्राइवेट स्कूल से पब्लिक स्कूल में डालना पड़ेगा, उसका भी स्टैंडर्ड बुरा नहीं है.
hmm,
माँ बाप और खुद का मेडिकल, बच्चे का मेडिकल कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होगा
hmm,
सर्टिफिकेट से.
hmm,
स्टेट मेडिकल है. नाउ यू कैन आर्ग्यू कि ओके, कैनेडियन स्टेट मेडिकल इज नॉट एज गुड एज अ प्राइवेट मेडिकल. ठीक है, मैं मानता हूँ, लोग पीपल कंप्लेंट, बस है तो सही ना. ये
hmm.
नहीं है ना कि
True.
तुम्हें उठा के
Yeah.
बाहर फेंक दो. एटलीस्ट हॉस्पिटल, उनका स्टेट हॉस्पिटल भी हमारे फोटे से कम नहीं लगेगा, मिनिमम,
Hmm,
बेयर मिनिमम, राइट.
hmm,
एंड यूके में तो तुम्हें पता है, ऑब्वियसली वहाँ पे तो उनका स्टैंडर्डाइज हेल्थ पॉलिसी है, तो दैट इज देयर.
hmm,
गुड और बैड डजंट मैटर. सो द टैलेंट नोज कि यार फटी हालत में ना मेरे को कोई अबैंडन नहीं करेगा.
hmm,
सड़क पे नहीं आऊंगा, मुझे मुझे उधार नहीं मांगना पड़ेगा फॉर
hmm.
बेसिक्स. उधार में भी मांगना पड़ेगा मे बी इफ यू वांट्स टू डू समथिंग बियॉन्ड बेसिक्स.
Yeah.
इंडिया में ना प्रॉब्लम ये है कि द स्मार्ट पीपल विल अटेन a certain wealth and in terms of and a certain earning ability against which जो taxes दे रहे हैं, both GST and direct tax put together, उसके लिए उनको सुविधाएं नहीं मिल रही जो वो डिजर्व करते हैं.
Hmm,
ठीक है. अगेन, तुम बोलोगे स्टेट ट्रेजरी अलाउ नहीं करती है सुविधा देने के लिए हमें. इनकम टैक्स पेयर लेस देन इंडिया में 1.5% या 2% है. इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स पेयर तो है ना,
yeah.
जीएसटी सब दे रहे हैं ना. आज आप
Yeah.
जीएसटी कलेक्शन अगर आप देखोगे, दिस पब्लिक डेटा फॉर डिफरेंट स्टेट्स. लुक एट द जीएसटी कलेक्शन ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, लुक एट द जीएसटी कलेक्शन ऑफ से दिल्ली, for that matter. There can be some kind of opt-in programs which should take care of such talent in the event of adversities,
Hmm,
right? जैसे आज भी ना मिडिल ईस्ट में हमने एक ऑप्ट इन लिया हुआ है जिसमें जॉब लॉस में हमें 3 to 6 months तक वी विल गेट अ सर्टेन पार्ट ऑफ अ सैलरी. ठीक
hmm,
है, अब तो हमने ऑप्ट इन लिया, हमने तो पैसे दिए उसके, हमारे लिए तो एक तरीके से इंश्योरेंस ही है.
hmm,
बट वी डोंट माइंड दैट ऑप्ट इन, राइट. सो जस्ट टू गिव यू कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि आप 500 दिरहम का ऑप्ट इन ले लो 2 साल के लिए.
hmm,
अगर आपकी जॉब चली जाती है, आपको 3 से 6 महीने तक 20,000 दिरहम महीना मिलेगा.
hmm,
इफ यू आर अर्निंग इज से अबव 50,000 दिरहम, विच इज फाइन, राइट. वो 20,000 दिरहम तुम्हें कुशन दे देगा, तुम्हारा रेंट निकल जाएगा, तुम्हारी गाड़ी की ईएमआई निकल जाएगी, घर का खाना आ जाएगा. उस
hmm,
3 से 6 महीने में तुम नौकरी ढूंढ लोगे दूसरी,
hmm.
right.
True.
These kind of programs have to be developed to retain talent. Otherwise सब लोग टैक्स हेवंस में भागेंगे, वो नहीं
Hmm,
रोक पाओगे. इट जस्ट जिस आदमी ने एक सर्टेन पेडेस्टल क्रॉस कर लिया, एक एक एफिशिएंट फ्रंटियर है हर आदमी का. उसको
hmm,
पता लग गया एफिशिएंट फ्रंटियर, जैसे उसने टच किया सर चार्ज वाला टैक्स,
hmm.
राइट. वो टैक्स नहीं जो तुम सीए से फॉर्म एटीसी भरवा के कुछ कटवा लेते हो, वो लोग टेंशन उनको नहीं है अभी. जब
True.
सरचार्ज
True.
वाले रीजन में तुम पहुंचोगे ना, तो तुम भागने का सोचोगे, तुम यू विल रन आउट ऑफ ऑप्शंस टू डू थिंग्स. एंड यू विल सी कि तुम्हारे बगल में तुम्हारे पापा जी के जो दोस्त है, जो ट्रांसफार्मर बेच रहे या ट्यूबलाइट बेच रहे, उन्होंने
Hmm,
इतने जुगाड़ बना दिए अपने इन टर्म्स ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के जो अवेलेबिलिटीज है,
hmm,
एम्प्लॉय सैलरी, एम्प्लॉय ट्रैवल एक्सपेंसेस, व्हीकल फॉर द बिजनेस, और रेंटल फॉर द बिजनेस, विच आर टैक्स इवेजन फॉर देम, कि लिटरली तुमसे कम टैक्स दे रहा है, राइट. तो यू कैन हैव योर अंकल जो ट्यूबलाइट बेच रहे हैं, जिनका टर्नओवर हो सकता है 10 करोड़ हो, पर हो सकता
hmm,
है टैक्स उन्होंने तुमसे भी कम दिया हो साल का.
hmm.
हो सकता है टैक्स उन्होंने दिया 2 लाख रुपए साल का, और उनके बच्चे एमिरेट्स के फर्स्ट क्लास ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं. तुम बैठ
Hmm.
के स्पाइस जेट और इंडिगो की प्राइस कंपेयर कर रहे हो, हालांकि तुमने उनसे 6 गुना ज्यादा टैक्स दिया,
True. Absolutely.
राइट. सो ये डाइकोटमी है ना, एक तरीके से.
Hmm.
कैसे सस्टेन करोगे आप?
But tell me, मतलब now that we have established कि एक level of brain drain तो होगा, right, towards
हम्म.
places which are more tax efficient, maybe from places like London which are not, right. I was recently
या
reading somewhere कि वहाँ RSU पे flat 50% tax है or something. I might be wrong about this, but do you think now the marketing work coming out of the Middle East will at some point be superior to that coming out of London or maybe even the US at some point?
इफ मिडिल ईस्ट इज एबल टू अट्रैक्ट दैट टैलेंट, यस.
Hmm.
अभी तक तो what I see from my experiences is attracting a lot of Indian and South Asian talent.
Hmm.
and they're doing pretty well over here, and they're happier because they are able to get more out of life, right? More juice.
Hmm.
इंडिया में बैठ के क्योंकि वो टैक्स दे रहा था, तो बेबी वो क्रेटा चला रहा था, इधर आके वो 7 सीरीज चला रहा है, तो उसकी एक एस्पिरेशन पूरी। एज गाइड टू मैन बता रहा हूँ, राइट? हर
Hmm.
आदमी की ये एस्पिरेशन होती है, यार मेरे को ये गाड़ी लेनी है।
Yeah.
दूसरा एस्पिरेशन उसका पूरा हो रहा है कि ही इज एबल टू बाय ब्रांड्स जो वो देखता रहे इंडिया में तुम्हारे एसएमईज के
Hmm.
बच्चे खरीद रहे हैं, राइट?
Hmm.
वो जैसे तुम्हारे पंजाब जाके किसी ने गुची ले लिया, राइट? या किसी ने तुम्हारे वहाँ पे ज़िबरमैन की जैकेट ले ली, तो ये सब चीजें वो कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, तो उसकी वो एस्पिरेशन पूरी हो रही है क्योंकि उसके पास कैश इन हैंड कंपोनेंट है ये सब करने के लिए।
Hmm. Hmm.
देन इंश्योरेंस प्रोटेक्शन यहाँ पे डिफरेंट है इंडिया में कि जब तक लेटोगे नहीं बस अस्पताल जाके, तब तक तुम्हारा
Hmm.
कवरेज नहीं है, राइट? एडमिशन पे
Hmm.
इधर तुम्हारा एवरी डॉक्टर अपीयरेंस इज कवर्ड, राइट?
Hmm.
जो जो इंडिया में है ही नहीं, उस तरह की पॉलिसी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती, इट्स ऑल हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन, राइट? यू कैन
Yeah.
टेक 50-30 लाख की, बट तुम्हें लेटना पड़ेगा हॉस्पिटल जाके,
Hmm.
राइट? तभी जाके तुम्हें कुछ क्लेम मिलेगा। अब
Hmm.
इन क्लासिक केस लाइक सिवियर कॉम्प्लिकेशन वे डोंट नीड टू बी एडमिटेड,
Hmm.
तुम्हारा पूरा पैसा जेब से जाएगा इंडिया में, विच इज नॉट
Hmm.
देयर हियर इन मिडल ईस्ट। सो वो फैक्टर्स देख के आई सी लॉट ऑफ साउथ एशियन टैलेंट कमिंग इन
Hmm.
with the way of the world, or the new polarization of the world going forward. I do anticipate a lot of American and European talent coming here for the same
Hmm.
reason, actually,
Hmm. And
right?
probably more agencies also coming in, and that the entire
Yes,
marketing ecosystem in Middle East, maybe 5 years down the line, becoming much more robust and much more self-sustaining.
they are kind of pegging towards that. Plus, within Middle East, the competition is becoming very good, right? Dubai used to be the heart of Middle East, but the way Saudi is developing,
Hmm.
and with the projects like Neon, right, which is a modern tech city, there
Hmm.
will be good competition, right?
Yeah.
You and recently saw Qatar hosting the World Cup, so they will be competing amongst each other to have the best possible attraction, or best possible conditions for expat employees, which is a good thing, right? So it is a
Yeah.
classic case of कि during our parents' time they had option कि यार न्यूयॉर्क जाऊं, लंदन जाऊं या जर्मनी जाऊं, right? Because उस time talent का इतना deficit था वहाँ पे, people like our parents had very easy option to migrate there,
Hmm.
right? So I know like half of my family was in US, they were IITians, and यार उनको ना 78 में गए थे,
Hmm.
79 में ग्रीन कार्ड मिल गया था,
Wow.
80 में पासपोर्ट बन गया था।
Hmm.
आज कोई जाएगा ना यूएस, तो उसको तो H1B 12 साल चलेगा, ग्रीन
Hmm.
कार्ड एप्लीकेशन ऑन फाइल्स उसकी रहेगी पता नहीं 20 साल,
Hmm.
तब जाके उसको कुछ मिलेगा। पासपोर्ट तो छोड़ दो, तो शायद मुश्किल ही है मिलना। तो
Hmm.
आई थिंक ये सेम कंडीशंस फॉर द न्यू वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर जो होगा, इट विल बी मोर टुवर्ड्स मिडल ईस्ट,
Hmm.
where these people will say that whatever you derive or define from the Western ways of living, we'll give you here, and you and at the same time we'll try to make provisions like immigration easier,
Yeah.
जो अभी तक difficult था। तो I think that's how they'll try to move. Having said that, I do see that if India में some state actions are taken fast to retain talent, things can turn around, क्योंकि यार देशभक्ति तो है लोगों में ना यार, वो तो चाहते ही
Absolutely.
करना चाह
Yeah.
लोग तो मतलब आज भी मुझे मौका दोगे, I want to stay back and do something for the country, but
Hmm.
give me some leeway, no? Give me some provision for the 38% or 40% tax that I'll give you. Take
Hmm.
care of my child's school at least. Take care of my mother's health. Right?
Hmm.
इतना भी कर लो ना, I'm fine. I'm willing to take that sacrifice and work within the nation and show work for the countries or
Hmm.
work for the companies where the wealth stays within the country, right? But होना चाहिए वैसे.
Agree. So very cool perspective, Hitesh. And I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about careers now, there's more than one way to kind of become
Yeah.
an international global marketer, if you may. Before we go, I think there's one question which I was itching to ask you right at the beginning, but I wanted your
Mm.
perspectives on other things which you've not spoken about at other forums before. So we'll talk about Nykaa, right? But what I want to talk about specifically, and you've been through the journey of building that brand from scratch and making it a household name, and like that's something which any marketer would be extremely jealous and proud of at the same time. uh, what's the one thing, right, in your journey at Nykaa of 5-6 years that you have built the brand? What's the one thing that you really regret or you would want to do over?
Yeah, Nykaa is so close to my heart कि मतलब I don't know, should be saying it, मेरे ना मन में ये था कि 65 years की उम्र तक ना मैं नायका में रहूं। I
Hmm.
should retire, like retirement pension होता है ना, वैसे लेके निकलो। Everything was so close to my heart. The people, the founder, Ms. Falguni Nair, the team, everything extremely close to me, and it literally became like a family, right? So much so that anybody from that company calls me, I'll be in front of them at a drop of a hat. It's so close to me. I think the one thing that really worked was the balance that my CEO or my manager created for me. The balance of chasing growth yet not losing control.
Hmm.
So her method was very good. She said that you are the subject matter expert. I will not get to your expertise, but I am the subject matter expert of balance sheet.
Hmm.
I've come from banking world. I understand numbers very well. I understand money in, money out.
Hmm.
Now you explain me your world. I will explain you my world. Let's work on this together. So today, Harinder, my ability to read balance sheets or P&L statement is very superior, courtesy my boss, my ex-boss.
Hmm.
In my past experience, no CEO, founder ever got me access to that kind of analysis. Right? They would usually block it to
Hmm.
marketing. To marketing, they will say, ये तुम ROS देखो, CAC देखो, and यही तुम्हारा perspective. The perspective that Falguni gave me towards business, कि every step that I do, उसमें business में क्या impact आता है, and which other department has to take a sacrifice because of one misjudgment by me,
Hmm.
gave me a lot of deep perspective. That was my side, and from her side, her ability to extract information from me and adapt and trust was brilliant. So, as I said, she backed me and supported me for a lot of things when nobody was backing me.
Yeah.
जैसे सिंपल एग्जांपल को दे देता हूँ, जैसे गूगल सर्च, ठीक है,
Hmm.
द होल वर्ल्ड वुड सेंड स्क्रीनशॉट की यार देखो लिपस्टिक के सर्टेन कीवर्ड्स में ना यहाँ पे नायका शो नहीं हो रहा और इधर शो हो रहा है, ठीक है, लोग की आदत है, तेरे को पता है, भेजेंगे,
Yeah.
हम अपने कीवर्ड्स पे बिड नहीं कर रहे.
Hmm.
And then to explain perspective to Falguni ki dekho, we are bidding on ROAS. So it is showing to people who are likely to buy, and it is abstaining from people who will not buy, and they just click and have fun.
Hmm.
Okay, because I'm not optimizing for impression, I'm optimizing for ROAS, because I don't want clicks. It will lead to nothing. We are at a stage right now where we have to derive 10 to 12% of our revenue from lipsticks, which
Hmm.
is the largest category in makeup. Isme we can't play around. We need to ensure that we show on top for people who have genuine interest of buying. And those were the golden days of, I would say, digital marketing, where the algorithms were very razor sharp. इतना cookieless world नहीं था, सारा सब information track होती थी customer की. So it had a pretty good understanding of कि कौन खरीदेगा कौन नहीं खरीदेगा. So somebody like Falguni, who's never done digital, understanding this and backing me whenever somebody would raise this point was fantabulous, right? These kind of things you get once in a lifetime. You don't get this all your life. And both in terms of me learning, the financials, and in terms of her backing me for a concept that I've explained and made her understand. Right? So she trusted me. She didn't care कि यार मैं खुद जाके verify करूंगी 10 लोगों से कि जो बता रहे हैं सच है नहीं. She took me as a subject matter expert and she said, look, don't send me this screenshot. Hitesh very well knows what he's doing. Give him time, have some patience, and he will deliver on this. And we delivered, right, together. I think that was exceptional. Obviously, I don't want to miss out on giving credit to my team, which is probably one of the best teams ever I worked in my life. And a lot of them came as freshers, and I had the fortune to groom them and cast them into one of the best digital marketers available in this market today in India. But their ability to learn or their eagerness to learn was very good. So that was downstream experience, which was great. But the upstream experience I know is once in my lifetime will never happen again. Right. And that's why Naga is so close to me because I think somewhere only the chemistry that I had with Falguni or she had with me, it is like once in life. And I think I will. It's hard for me to get a leader like that, who makes me understand financials and also understands my perspective and backs me. And I hope it is also hard for her to get a CMO who's gonna go so deep into things, explaining her and maybe also making her aware about new things,
True.
right? And it is that equation,
True.
I
So
think.
there's nothing that you would do differently if you were to do that stint again from scratch.
Uh, the only thing that I would do differently is that I would prepare myself better for a 10 to 100 innings, which I
Mhm.
did not.
Yeah.
And which I'm pretty well. I'm a 1 to 10 as well as 10 to 100 guy right now. I think I would have started developing myself more. Again, try to look for a mentor who can take me to a 10 to 100 thinking, which is more to do with processes, which is more to do with controls, which is more to do with cross department, working, which is more to do with, maybe having a very long term vision on things, not like stopping at 1 year or 2 year, maybe thinking
Hmm.
like 6 or 10 years ahead. I think that's the only thing I would have changed about me, but nothing else.
Very cool and very honest, and I think that's a wonderful perspective. And I think it's good that because it also circles back to the first question that we started talking about, that they are 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 and 10 to 100 marketers. But like you said, there's no way that one can't become kind of
Yeah.
multifaceted. कि आपको 0 to 1 भी बनना है, 10 to 100 भी बनना है. That's how
यार
you.
इधर वही ना, तुम्हारे आज ये सारे एप्पल और ये माइक्रोसॉफ्ट स्टार्टअप्स ही थे ना यार। उनके ये जो तुम्हारा टिम कुक है ना, ये भी तो कभी एक 1 to 10 गाय रहा होगा। ठीक
Absolutely.
है, इसको ट्रेन किया गया ना, इसको मेंटर किया गया ना, इसको
Hmm.
समझाया गया ना, किसी ने तो समझाया है। एंड मे बी स्टीव जॉब हिमसेल्फ trained himself to become 10 to 100,
Hmm.
right? When he quit app or when he was thrown out of Apple, he was a 1 to 10 guy, right? He had very
Hmm.
smaller perspectives and things, and then life taught him lessons, and then he came back strongly. When he came back, I'm assuming he started training his number twos very well,
Hmm.
right? He started preparing the next set of CEOs, right? So Apple का market cap नहीं suffer हुआ उसके बनने से, Steve
Yeah.
Jobs के बनने से, right? You
Yeah.
may again say कि यार इतना innovative नहीं है, वो again perspective है लोगों का, but
Hmm.
whatever, they're maintaining their market cap, they're doing outstandingly well for themselves.
बिल्कुल.
So Tim Cook is a classic example कि यार वो, I'm very sure young, energetic, passionate बंदा आया होगा और उसने पूरा अपने आप को होन किया इस तरीके से।
Hmm.
ठीक है, हर जगह है यार, ऑल दीज क्लासिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में ऐसा होता है। तो ये लोग करें तो हम क्यों नहीं करें, राइट? ये हमारी कंट्री में भी होना चाहिए ना। तुम्हारा जो 1 to 10 का है, उसके अंदर एनर्जी है, उसके अंदर पैशन है, तुम उसको 10 to 100 के लिए ट्रेन करो, पेशेंस लाओ उसको,
Hmm.
गेट हिम अ मेंटोर फ्रॉम लाइक वन ऑफ द टॉप एफएमसीजी एंड पे फॉर दैट प्रोग्राम। उसको
Hmm.
बोलो तुझे हफ्ते में 4 घंटे जाके के साथ बैठना है, समझ कि ये कौन से शीट्स देखता है, क्या प्रोसेसेस बनाता है, एसओपीस कैसे बनते हैं,
Hmm.
प्रोसेस एक्सलेंस टीम क्या होती है, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन टीम क्या होती है, वो लोग का क्या काम है।
Hmm.
प्रिपरेशन तो यही है ना। 10 to 100 वाला क्या होगा, उसको पता है हाउ टू वर्क थ्रू प्रोसेस एक्सलेंस एंड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड
Agree.
मे बी न्यू बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट और न्यू इनिशिएटिव्स, राइट?
Hmm. Hmm.
ये चारों के साथ तुम्हें डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना है, एसओपीस बनाना है, एंड वो एसओपीस
Nice.
कंपनी की लाइफलाइन होती है सारी उम्र के लिए।
Absolutely. Very cool. So as we wrap this up, I would want you to say for somebody who's, matlab, and I'll be a little selfish here, somebody who said been doing marketing for 10 years, is now probably looking to kind of crack bigger and bigger roles and just trying to scale himself or herself into what the ideal model of CMO should be in this century, in this decade. What are three things that are absolutely indispensable जो immediately कि सब कुछ छोड़ दो ये पहले करो.
रियलिटी चेक नंबर वन। तुम किस औकात में हो,
Hmm.
वो किसी को दिखाना पड़ेगा तुम्हें, क्योंकि अपने हिसाब से तो हम लोग सब सुपरस्टार है यार, मतलब। तो
Hmm.
मैं रियलिटी चेक बहुत करता हूँ अपने साथ। तो आई आई ट्राई टू गेट इनटू अ बैंटर विद somebody who knows more than me, and I tell him to nerd me out. Please
Hmm.
nerd me out. I beg कि please nerd me out. This nerd me out philosophy ना मेरी लाइफ में बहुत काम आती है,
Yeah.
क्योंकि वो 10 चीजें ऐसे बोलेगा कॉन्वर्सेशन में जो मेरे को गूगल करनी पड़ती है।
Hmm.
ठीक है, लॉट ऑफ टॉप मार्केटर्स इन वेब 3 have been able to nerd me out successfully, right? They have been using terms जो मैंने जिंदगी में नहीं सुनी थी, and they were younger। ठीक है, मेरे से एटलीस्ट 8 8 साल छोटे थे, 8 या 10 साल छोटे। So they were able to nerd me out, and
Hmm.
and 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 I realized मैं कितना नहीं know and what are the steps I need to take to reach that destiny, right? To reach that mark. So the first step obviously is कि get a reality check and get
Yeah.
somebody nerd you out. You will know who can nerd you out, right? So just make sure you make a bridge towards that person.
Hmm.
Then the second step from that onwards is that get a very strong assessment downstream, matlab, from people who have been working with you, who, who find a way that they can speak the truth, no matter how harsh it is.
Hmm.
Your your team's perception, real perception about you, kind of gives you some indication if you're ready for that baton yet or not, to go to a high growth leadership role.
Makes
ठीक है,
sense.
और एंड उनको बताओ कि बॉस प्लीज इट विल नॉट अफेक्ट योर अप्रेजल,
Hmm.
आई एम जस्ट डूइंग इट फॉर मी, एंड दारू वारू पिलाने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि मुझे सच चाहिए। आई डोंट वांट लाइक एनी काइंड ऑफ स्वीट टॉक्स अराउंड इट, बट गेट अ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रांग पर्सपेक्टिव। व्हाट डू यू फील, प्लीज टेल मी। If you show that you are neutral and you're eager, they will open up. But if
Hmm.
you show that, if they think you're doing some kind of drama, they will not, just like, they will not talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the second part. Third is very important, तुम्हारा पर्सनल पीआर का स्टैंड करता है। ठीक
Hmm.
है, सो तुम पीयर नेटवर्क में, हायर नेटवर्क में एंड अपने एम्प्लॉय नेटवर्क में कहाँ स्टैंड करते हो,
Hmm.
तुम्हारी पीआर क्या है, तुम हु नोज यू, हु गेट्स इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम यू,
Hmm.
एंड व्हाट आर द एविडेंस एंड प्रूफ पॉइंट्स ऑफ दोस इंस्पिरेशन. ठीक है, somebody sharing your content and what is the profile of that person is a proof point कि हाँ इसको अच्छा लगा, इसने रिलेट किया, इसने शेयर किया, तो एक प्रूफ पॉइंट मेरे पास आ गया. ठीक है. दूसरा प्रूफ पॉइंट आ गया कि किसी ने तुमसे मिलके बोला कि यार दिस इज व्हाट यू टॉक्ड अबाउट एंड आई रिलेट टू इट, आई रियली लाइक इट. तीसरा प्रूफ पॉइंट आ गया कि सम काइंड ऑफ मार्केटिंग बॉडीज tell you that not getting you is not possible into
Hmm.
our board, and because we really value your opinion, not because you're client and you want a business, but we really think that what you bring to the table is efficient. For example, does your Facebook partner or Google partner or even your say MMP partner tell you कि यार आप प्लीज हमारे राउंड टेबल पे आ जाओ क्योंकि आपका पर्सपेक्टिव हमारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. Is that getting recorded? Is there a way that you can project what you're talking about there?
Hmm.
सो पर्सनल पीआर के बिना, पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग के बिना, पर्सनल वर्दीनेस के बिना लीडरशिप पॉसिबल है नहीं.
Hmm.
और जो लीडर्स बन भी जाते हैं ना, जिन अननोन से जो होते हैं, जो एकदम बिटवीन द डार्क कॉरिडोर्स वाले जो होते हैं, वो टिक नहीं पाते क्योंकि समवेयर जब वो टीम बनाते हैं ना तो उनका जूनियर सोचते हैं कि यार ये कौन है, कहाँ से आया है, इसको तो कोई जानता भी नहीं है.
Hmm.
ठीक है. अगर
True.
तुम्हारा एज अ लीडर तुम हो और तुम्हारी टीम तुम्हें गूगल नहीं कर पा रही या तुम्हारी R&D नहीं कर पा रही ना, तो वो ज्यादा रिस्पेक्ट भी नहीं करेगी. ठीक है. उनको नहीं चाहिए वो डार्क कॉरिडोर वाला लॉर्ड वोल्डेमॉर्ट नहीं चाहिए उनको. उनको चाहिए कि यार
Absolutely.
मुझे ऐसा बनना है यार, ये बंदा हीरो है, मेरे को भी इस रास्ते पे जाना है. ये
Hmm.
मेरे को इंस्पायर करता है, इसके अंदर कुछ दिमाग है, इसके अंदर कुछ कंटेंट है.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ यार ये आ गया पर पता नहीं किधर से आया है, इसके बारे में तो आज तक एक आर्टिकल नहीं आया है, इसके
Hmm.
बारे में आज तक फेसबुक को नहीं पता, गूगल को नहीं पता. जो तुम्हारे स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट एंडोर्सर्स हो सकते हैं इनडायरेक्टली,
Hmm.
तुम्हारे चैनल पार्टनर्स,
Hmm.
इस एजेंसी को नहीं पता, एजेंसी वाला ने बोला कि यार कितना बेवकूफ और फुद्दू आदमी है. तो
Hmm.
ये चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है तुम्हारे पर्सनल ईयर की. इफ दीज थ्री एंड्स कैन मीट, which obviously I'm happy to repeat, the first is your reality check, second is your feedback downstream, and third is your personal PR, then I think you're
Hmm.
ready. ये थोड़ा जाना जरूरी है.
Very cool. I think the third one, and I keep hearing that from very senior marketing folks कि यार अगर तुम का ब्रांड नहीं बना सकते तो किसी का क्या ही बनाओगे, considering that
हाँ.
also product in the market. So perfect. So Hitesh, I think we've got a lot of amazing insights from you. We've got a lot of juice, and in your
I just hope now enough people are listening to it.
नहीं, नहीं,
That's my only worry. Let's be
I'm
honest.
I'm sure that will
यही है.
happen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hitesh. Thank you so much, and hope to have you soon on another episode of Brands, Brews, and Banter.
I
Thank
wish you
you.
all the best, and I really hope that you carry this kind of honest conversation with people. दो ज्यादा मिलेंगे नहीं लोग, काफी
Hmm.
मुश्किल होगा ढूंढना क्योंकि लोग बहुत ही जनरल बात करेंगे, बट कई मे बी इन फ्यूचर इनोनिमसली तुम पकड़ लोगे ना किसी को,
Hmm.
काला कपड़ा मुंह पे लग देना, नाम रिवील मत करना, बट बातें निकलवा देना. आई थिंक दैट विल बी लाइक रियली गुड. वेब थ्री में ही होता है, इट्स अ नॉर्मल थिंग. सो
Yeah.
वेब थ्री में वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट प्लेसेस टू हैंग अराउंड, ऑब्वियसली तुम्हारे ऑब्वियसली डिफरेंट रूम्स होते हैं. जैसे ट्विटर पे तुम जाते हो तो वहाँ पे व्हेन यू सी दोस एनोनिमस रूम्स, वहाँ पे यू गेट टू हियर रियली गुड पर्ल्स ऑफ विजडम. सो कई
Hmm.
सारे वेब थ्री इन्फ्लुएंसर है ना, वो एनोनिमस आईडी बना के रखते हैं ट्विटर पे. ठीक
Hmm.
है. एंड दे आर ऑल अवेलेबल ऑन द चार्टर्स, एंड यू गेट टू हियर लॉट ऑफ इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग्स. दे डोंट वांट टू कम आउट because they have allegiance to certain businesses which they don't want to show in front of people. So but carry on this great job. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Hitesh, and have a great day.
You too. Bye. See you.